Yo everyone, it's Decayed Matter back again, and I guess today I feel like doing a sort of collection video, but this is specifically for my 2D shoot 'em ups, and I guess you would call them 2D run and gun games. So I'll show you all the games, at least physical games in my collection that would fall into this category. A few of them might be like borderline 2D action adventure, but I only pick the ones that have like a truly, I guess you would say, hardcore difficulty, and I would consider more that to fall into that category of like a run and gun type game. So I got them all set up here. I'm going to go through them, so hope you enjoy this. We'll start off with, of course, my favorite run and gun games ever, and I'm sure you can probably guess what that's going to be. So we'll start with the first game in the series, and this is a game series that I have I'm pretty sure a complete North American collection of, and that is Contra. Yes, of course, the Contra series is the most well-known run and gun 2D action game. So here's the NES original, complete in the box. I wanted to make sure to have all of these complete in the box, and I mean, this one's such a classic. I can replay this anytime and never get sick of it. Gotta love the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone lookalikes, and like the xenomorph looking, almost looks like face hugger arms, and that's kind of xenomorph looking. So yeah, here's the back. Let's see, pretty sweet, the classic. So yeah, this is a really short game, but it never gets old. It's fairly easy once you learn the patterns, even trying to beat it on just 3 lives, not using the Konami code. But playing this 2 players is very difficult. You can see that in the newest James and Mike play on Cinemassacre. They tried playing it 2 players, and it really increases the difficulty because you really have to coordinate every single move with the other player. So yeah, it's a classic. It's always fun to play with 2 people. So next up, of course, we have the sequel, Super C, or it was Super Contra in the arcade. So yeah, both these NES games were in fact ports of the arcade versions, which were a lot different. I mean, these are formatted for 4x3 televisions, and the arcade versions were like the tall screens. And the graphics were much better, the controls were a little different, the levels were kind of shorter and different, but I think these are the better versions overall anyways. They just, I don't know, they feel more balanced to me. So yeah, you can have a look at the back of the box here. Pretty cool. And looking a little less Arnie and Stallone like on the cover. So they've dialed back the plagiarism a bit. So yeah, Super C, still really good. Just as good as the first one in my opinion. It's just the first one is such a classic. But yeah, this one introduced the top-down view for a couple levels. So that was pretty neat. And they carried on those top-down levels in a couple more of the games later on. So yeah, this is another one of the best ones in my opinion. So yeah, let's move on. Try not to make this video too long, but this might be, you know, like a 30-minute video. So we'll see. And then we had this game, Operation C. And this was based off the like the NES version's graphics and everything. And yeah, it was for the original Game Boy. And there you can see the back. Some of the screenshots, if it focuses in on them. That's pretty cool. That's what the side looks like. So yeah, and this one only stars who was the second playable character for the second player, Lance Bean, I believe. So this one's single player only, and it's really nice. I mean, it's challenging. It's definitely the easier of the first 3 games. Like, I would say Super Contra is the hardest in my opinion, and then Contra 1, and then this is a lot easier. But yeah, it's still a fun challenge. It's got nice graphics for the Game Boy. It works very nice on a Game Boy Advance SP. It fills in the colors nicely. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. Okay, next up we have the official 3rd game, Contra 3, The Alien Wars. Woohoo! So yeah, this is all about the big battle where I guess the aliens invade Earth. I think in a lot of these American versions of these games, the story was butchered, especially in the first game. Like, they cut out a lot of the cutscenes, well, all the cutscenes, I believe, except for maybe the ending. And like the first game, it didn't have animated backgrounds in the North American version. And then, of course, with this game, they changed the story. I believe they made it so the main character wasn't the 2 original guys from the first game, even though it's supposed to be them. So I just kind of ignore that and pretend it's them. So anyways, here's the back. Contra 3. Pretty sweet. Here's the side. Here's the other side. That side. And then the front closer up. Pretty cool artwork though. I like the Terminator looking robot. Almost looks like I guess like the giant Terminator in Terminator Salvation. So yeah, Contra 3. Anyways, the game itself, I mean, it's got great graphics. They really pumped up the difficulty a lot. Yeah, it's just bigger bosses. It brings back, I don't know if you can see right there, it's the top-down levels again. But in these ones you can kind of strafe and rotate the camera around with the nice Mode 7 effects and everything. And yeah, this one they just really pumped up the difficulty a lot. I don't think I've beaten this without cheats, so maybe that's something I need to do. But I love this game. It's really awesome. Looks great. Oh man, this video is going to be long. I'm already 8 minutes in. I'm not even through Contra. But, you know, I have a lot to say about Contra, so... Anyways, here's... I believe this came after Contra 3, but correct me if I'm wrong. But this is Contra Hardcore for the Sega Genesis. This is one of the few Sega Genesis games I really cared about collecting. You can see it's got the nice case with a Konami logo embedded on the case there. You can kind of see it reflecting. So yeah, pretty sweet. I love these Genesis boxes. They definitely stay in better condition like DVD cases. But yeah, like the name says, Contra Hardcore, because this game is hardcore. I mean, I cannot beat this game. I think I did beat it on an emulator before using save states, but I cannot beat this. I guess I just have to spend a lot of time learning everything, or pick easier paths or something through the game. But yeah, it's really awesome. It takes advantage of the Genesis hardware and sound chip very well. Great graphics. It's almost got some Mode 7 like graphics on it. I forgot if I showed you the back of the box. That's how it looks. But yeah, it looks in a lot of ways as good as Contra 3. I think Contra 3 looks a little better than this, but this one is also better in a lot of ways than Contra 3. I mean, it has multiple characters, multiple paths through the levels, multiple endings, and yeah, each character has different weapon sets and different play styles, so it's got a lot of variety. So it's not the kind of game you play through once and you see everything. You gotta play through it multiple times and see all the different stages, characters, endings, cutscenes, everything. So it's really cool. Okay, now we have, I think it took them a while to come out with a sequel. Now, as you notice, I skipped over Contra was it Legacy of War and C, the Contra adventure on PS1, because I don't consider those part of the Contra franchise. Some people do, I don't, because they're not made by the original like Japanese developers or anything. So I don't, and they're kind of garbage in my opinion. They don't feel like Contra, so those don't exist to me. Anyways, this is Contra Shattered Soldier for PS2, and this is an excellent like 2D again, but it has 3D graphics. Let you see the box a bit. Yes, it says the ultimate run and gun shooter is here. So yes, run and gun, that's the name of the genre, I guess. But yeah, it's got the PS2 like polygonal style graphics, but it's all 2D gameplay, so I guess it's 2.5D or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I mean, this one's a little different. I mean, it doesn't have weapon pickups like the others, you know, like the balloons that fly past and you shoot them. But you have a set of 3 different weapons that you can switch between on the fly, and each one has a charge up shot, so in a way it's kind of like you have 6 weapons. And it's got kind of a rating system where you have to destroy everything in the level to get a higher rating and not die while doing so. And that ties into getting farther, like more stages and more bosses at the end, and getting the true ending. I played this to death. I mean, I think I did get the S rank, and that gives you the hidden dog ending. But of course, I lost my save game, so I had to do it again. And I think right now all I've done is gotten the A rank ending, which is pretty much the true ending. The S rank ending is just, you know, a joke ending with a dog running around like shooting robots or whatever. But yeah, it stars Bill Reiser again, the guy from the first game, aka Arnold, and Lucia, which is a female cyborg, and she's pretty hot. Yeah, it's cool. It's got a nice art style, great graphics, great gameplay. Really fun 2 players. Ooh, so here we go. Keep going. 12 minutes in. Shit. This is going to be long, guys. You can skip through this if you want. I don't care. But anyways, next one up is the sequel, the PS2 sequel, Neo Contra. And this one was a lot different. It was more, as you can see, a lot of like isometric view. And this is way farther in the future than Contra Shattered Soldier. But even though it's isometric, it's still 2D gameplay, kind of like what Super Contra introduced with their overhead stages. But the whole game is like that. This one's a lot easier than Contra Shattered Soldier, though, in my opinion. Shattered Soldier is, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones next to, you know, I think Hardcore is the hardest one, followed by maybe Contra 3, then Shattered Soldier. Well, Contra 4 as well is really hard, so yeah, those would be the hardest ones, and this one's very easy. I mean, I would consider this one as easy as Operation C. But it's so cool. You get to pick different sets of 3 weapons before you start, which is cool. And it has multiple characters, but they all kind of play the same, I think. Although, if I remember correctly, each character had different weapons. Like this dude on the front, you can see he's got a katana, so he can use his katana, which is kind of interesting. And then again, it's Bill Reiser, or at least it might be Bill Reiser. Some weird thing with the story. But yeah, this has awesome music, as well as Shattered Soldier. Well, all the games have great music. But yeah, I love the music in Shattered Soldier and this game. I believe Shattered Soldier, the music was by Akira Yamaoka, who did Silent Hill series. I'm not sure if he did the soundtrack in this one too, but this game still has cool music. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. And then this one, Contra 4. So this one obviously came out on the DS, and yeah, it's totally, you know, 2D style. Like, it looks a lot like Contra 3, I would say. But it uses both of the screens, so as you can see, like here, it splits it, so it's more like vertical, almost like the original Contra and Super Contra for arcade, so it was a very tall screen. You had to make sure to keep your eye on both screens because enemies would shoot down from above and you'd have to shoot up and like grapple up to the top screen and go up. It's really crazy, and in a lot of ways it makes it very hard because you got to pay attention to both screens. So anyways, yeah, it's kind of weird. I forget where it takes place in the actual story. I think it might be like after Contra 3, but before like Shattered Soldier and all those. And I'm trying to remember who made this. It wasn't the original developers, but they did a really good job like making it feel like the originals. Like at first when they first showed it, I had my doubts because it looked like it wasn't very hard, but then right before it came out they must have gotten feedback and they made it a lot harder. So I would highly recommend this. Lots of great unlockables. Oh, and you can play Contra and Super Contra on here, but you have to unlock them. So that's pretty cool. So you can play 3 Contra games in one on this. Alright, so that is my whole Contra collection. So let's put this back and move on. I guess next we'll move on to another shoot 'em up series, not run and gun. Another one of my favorites, and that is, starting with this, R-Types. Now this is a collection of R-Type 1 and 2, the arcade versions. I also have the Xbox Live Arcade version, which kind of gives you remastered graphics, kind of like 3D-ish looking graphics on 2D gameplay. But this is just, you know, a straight up port of the arcade originals, so it's very, very hard. Technically I am missing one R-Type game, and that's Super R-Type on SNES, but in a way I'm not really missing that game because Super R-Type is kind of a combo of the first 2 games, although Super R-Type does have, I think, a stage or 2 that's completely new. So maybe eventually I'll get Super R-Type on SNES. But yeah, this is okay. It's really hard though. So if you don't like the difficulty, I might suggest the Xbox Live Arcade version, or I think it's on PSN now as well, because that gives you, like, I think it's called an infinite mode where you can continue as much as you want. But yeah, this was the beginning of the series. But when the games got really good, in my opinion, was this game, R-Type 3. Now this is super hardcore in my opinion. It's so hard, but it's a fair type of hard. I believe you can continue as much as you want in this, but there's like checkpoints through the level, so you really have to learn the levels and just, you know, master it. But yeah, it definitely feels like a game that's possible to get through. I haven't beaten it myself, although I might have on an emulator with save states. But as far as like playing it legit, I think I've gotten, I want to say maybe to level 5 or 6. And not really because I had to stop. I was playing it all night and I got stuck on a certain part. I think it was one of the stages where it's like constantly lowering the screen down and there's like enemies on both sides of the walls. But I guess I should explain a little about the R-Type series. You know, it's a standard like 2D spaceship shoot 'em up, but the thing that makes it different is the force that attaches to the front of your ship, and that allows you to, you know, you can power up the force so the lasers and stuff are, you know, more powerful, but you can also shoot it out and then have kind of like 2 different ships shooting like lasers and shit at the same time. And yeah, you can get missiles and speed power-ups and such. And these games are very hard, but they're not like a fast-paced kind of hard. It's more like slow and methodical. You got to be really strategic and know where to be on the screen, or else you get wasted by environmental stuff. But this game did speed it up a bit compared to some of the others. So this one was pretty fast-paced. And yeah, it's super, super expensive nowadays to buy. I had to pay an arm and a leg. I think I had to pay, you know, like $150, $200 for this. but I wanted like a complete collection of R-Type games, so I went and got it. So anyways, that's R-Type 3. It's amazing, but very expensive. And then it had a sequel on PS1, and this is it. R-Type Delta. Delta as in 4. Hee hee hee. Very clever. But yeah, this continued with the 2D gameplay, but it had PS1 style 3D graphics. See the back there. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorites under R-Type 3. It has really good music. That's one of the things that stands out to me, especially the first stage in this game is just an amazing song. I would check that out. I think it's called Crazy Machine. So look up R-Type Delta Crazy Machine. That song's amazing. But yeah, the graphics look really nice. It refines the gameplay from 3, where you can, well, 3 is the one that introduced different force types that you can attach to the front of the ship, where 1 and 2 just had one type of force. And this continues that idea. You can select multiple ships and everything. And yeah, it just refines the gameplay a lot. I believe one of the nice things in this is you could touch the walls of the level, at least on the lower difficulties, and you wouldn't die. But yeah, this is really hard. I believe the farthest I've gotten is maybe stage 4. And there is cheats, but I didn't want to use cheats in this because it does seem fair, but you just really have to learn the game. So maybe one day I'll beat it, but yeah, this is very tough. Very, very hard. Okay. Finally, this is the last game in the R-Type series that is a classic shoot 'em up, and that is R-Type Final. Yes, the final game. Although there was another R-Type game called R-Type Command, and that came out on PSP, but that was more of a strategy game, so I'd like to get it eventually, but I'm not including it in this video, obviously. And then there was also an R-Type game called R-Type Leo, and it was only in the arcades, and it might have been only in Japan. So that's unfortunate because R-Type Leo looks really good. I believe it was made by Capcom developers. I forget who. It was a Capcom developer that made a bunch of other really famous Capcom games. You could probably look it up on Wikipedia. But this just goes all out. As you can see, the front cover shows you exactly what the game's about, and it's collecting tons of ships. Let's see how many. There's over 100 ships. So, yeah. This one's not my favorite, but it's really good. There's kind of a lot of slowdown in it. It's a bit slow-paced. I think the environments are a little bit more bland looking compared to other games. But still, it's like, you know, it's like choosing like different flavors of cake. They're all fucking good, but this one's just not quite my favorite. But yeah, it's got really nice 3D graphics, like PS2 style, but it's all 2D gameplay. And it feels a lot like R-Type Delta gameplay-wise. You can, you know, freely change your speed without getting a power-up. You can touch the walls without dying. And, oh yeah, another thing that R-Type Delta brought in that this game also has is you can charge up your force attachments with, I guess they call it a dose. So anytime you like deflect a bullet with it or hit an enemy with it, it fills up the percentage of dose. And when you have 100%, you can do like a screen clearing super move. So yeah, that started in R-Type Delta and continues in this. And some of the super powers get really crazy in this one as you get the better ships. So that's what's really cool about this, is collecting all the ships and seeing all the new power-ups. Okay, so that's my R-Type collection. And then there's also an R-Type on, I think, Game Boy Color. R-Type Deluxe, but that's just kind of a port of R-Type 1 and 2, so I'm not in a huge rush to get that since I technically already have two versions of R-Type 1 and 2. So let's move on here. This video is going to be so long, and I've got so many games to get through still. Okay, what are we at? 25 minutes. Okay, so next up is another of my favorite shoot 'em up series, and I don't have a complete collection, but I'm getting there. I need a couple more games. I think I just need 2 more. But anyways, another great spaceship shoot 'em up series, and that is Gradius, or Gradius, whatever you want to say. And this is the Gradius Deluxe Pack, and this was, I believe this is only in Japan. So this is basically Gradius 1 and 2, and this is, you know, the Sega Saturn import. So yeah, these are the arcade versions as well. Gradius 1 was on NES in America, but that version was a little bit dumbed down compared to the arcade. But it was still good. It was a good port. But yeah, this is the version I chose to get just because it's, you know, it's pretty. I think it's pretty much arcade perfect. I think this was also on PS1, but I think the PS1 version had some slowdown in the second game, so that's why I went with this one. I got the, you know, the action replay cart, so I can, you know, play imports just fine. And yeah, it's just 2D space shooting action. You get little power-ups, and it charges up the little meter on the bottom of your screen, and you can pick different weapon selections. It goes like from speed up to, I think, speed up, missile, twin laser, or twin shot, or double shot they call it. And then I think it's laser, and then option, which is little orbs that go around your ship, and then shield, and then a screen crush that kills everything on screen. I might be wrong though, but yeah, it's basically like that. So anyways, let's move on. Next, we have Gradius 3 and 4 for the PS2. Now there was also a collection on PSP, the Gradius collection, and that I believe included Gradius 1, 2, 3, 4, and Gradius Gaiden, which was a PS1 exclusive in Japan. So that's one I still need to pick up. But and I'm not sure if I'll get the like the PS1 import or just the PSP collection, because I would like to play it on a bigger screen, but the PSP version might be fine. Anyways, yeah, this is just a collection of Gradius 3 and 4, the arcade versions. And the arcade version of 3 was actually a lot different than the SNES version. Well, the SNES version had a lot of slowdown, which kind of made it easier in a way. And the graphics were a little worse in some ways, and the music was a little different. But some people prefer the SNES version. I just wanted the arcade perfect one, and that's what you get in this. And then Gradius 4 in this is not made by the original developers, I think. It was made by, I forget who, but it definitely wasn't the original people, and some people don't like 4. I think 4 is okay. It's definitely not my favorite one. But yeah, it's got nice kind of like 3D style graphics in a 2D environment, so 2.5D. I don't know if I showed you the back already. Probably forgetting to show you the back of some of these, I don't know. But anyways, let's move on. Try to keep this moving. Next we have Gradius 5, and this was made by Treasure, which they also did Radiant Silvergun, Ikaruga, Guardian Heroes, Gunstar Heroes, all those games. And yeah, I believe members of Treasure did work on the original 1 through 3 Gradius games. And yeah, this is just, as usual, great PS2 style graphics in a 2D gameplay style. And this just really refines the gameplay. It's got a lot of different difficulties that change the layouts of the levels a lot and how the bosses react. And yeah, this one is definitely my favorite. It's just got the most hardcore difficulty, but it's also fair in a way, because you can select an option where you can continue right where you died rather than having to like go back to a checkpoint. So that makes it a lot easier to learn the stages and try to master it. And yeah, it's just amazing graphics, amazing music, amazing gameplay. So definitely pick this one up. Okay, next up is this one, which you cannot read, but is the Salamander Deluxe Pack Plus for Sega Saturn. This was in Japan. And the Salamander series is basically kind of a spin-off of Gradius. And this collection includes Salamander 1, Life Force, which we got on the NES in America, and then Salamander 2, which was in the arcades originally, arcades only. And yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Gradius gameplay style, but the differences is some of the stages are top-down, like vertical shooter, and the weapon power-up system is different. At least in Salamander, you just pick up power-ups and it automatically picks the weapons that you get. You don't get to choose unless you don't pick it up. But Life Force kind of remixes Salamander 1, but lets you play it in a Gradius style where you can select your weapons and everything. So yeah, it's very cool. Salamander 2 looks amazing. Great graphics. Okay. And that's it for my Gradius collection. I am missing, like I said, Gradius Gaiden for PS1, or it's on the PSP collection. And I'm also missing Nemesis on the original Game Boy, which is also a Gradius spin-off. So those are still ones I'm looking to get at some point. Okay. Next up, another run and gun series. And I believe I got all my games out here that I have. Starting with the Metal Slug Anthology. Yep, the great Neo Geo run and gun games. Very 2D anime hand-drawn style. Over-the-top action. I kind of consider this like the comedic version of Contra. Great animations, great weapon power-ups, great graphics in general. It's funny, the little animations, and just the simplistic story is really funny. And yeah, this game includes, I believe it's Metal Slug 1 through 6, including Metal Slug X, which is, I think, a remix of Part 2. And yeah, I think this PS2 collection of them is the closest to the arcade. It's slightly different in some ways to the, well, it's slightly worse than the arcade in some ways, but like loading times and slowdown, and probably the sound isn't completely accurate, but it's really close. Which reminds me, I gotta grab one more game down here, which I totally forgot about. And there's actually one that I don't have out right now, but it's not a big deal to show. But I also have the Xbox One port of Metal Slug 3, which does have like a specific mode. What was it? Oh yeah, the 5 challenge stages. So it's kind of like new levels, challenge, endurance mode sort of thing. This one was hard though because you couldn't do unlimited credits. So I've never actually beaten this version. I've gotten like, I think, to the last boss and always die on him. It just gets really frustrating, but at the time this was the best port of the game. In some ways it's more accurate than the Metal Slug 3 on this one, because this one has kind of some bad loading between stages, but this one's like pretty much perfect. It's just really hard. And then I also have Metal Slug 4 and 5 on PS2, another little collection disc, but not much point of showing that since, I have the Anthology collection here. So anyways, let's move on. We got a Game Boy game called Metal Slug Advance. And this one was okay. It had kind of a replayability factor where you could go back in the stages and find all these different items, I believe. What did they say? Yeah, additional assignments and discover hidden bonus missions. Yep, and yeah, you had to rescue a bunch of different hostages. So, but yeah, unfortunately this one was only 1 player, and a lot of the fun with the Metal Slug series is playing it 2 players, so that's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? it's still fun to play on the go. Graphics aren't quite as good as, you know, the Neo Geo, obviously, because it's Game Boy Advance, but it retains the style pretty well. I don't know if I showed you the back. That one. Alright, next up we have Metal Slug 7. Yeah, this, at the time, it was a DS exclusive Metal Slug. Here's the back. And as you can see, it's got a nice little slip case. I believe, yeah, this game came with like a little bonus disc, which I've never actually looked at. It's like a mini disc. I guess it has like previews of other games or something on it. Oh, it looks like, what's his name? Shu from Blue Dragon is on there. So it must have been something. But anyways, yeah. Metal Slug 7. It's kind of built for the DS hardware. At least the graphics were taking advantage of the DS's 2D capabilities pretty well. Fortunately, I don't think this one used both screens, so that was one thing where it kind of lost the advantage of being on the DS. But it's still cool. It's got nice animation, nice graphics. And then they upgraded this on the PSP. I think it's called Metal Slug XX, which I do have on the on my PS Vita via the PlayStation Plus subscription. But I'm not really including my digital copies of games in this video, obviously, because this is about, you know, physical collection. So yeah, it's really good. I love the Metal Slug series. So that's all my physical Metal Slug games, other than my PS2 copy of 4 and 5, which doesn't really matter. So we're getting through this. Okay. So next up, we got some more shoot 'em ups. And these are all miscellaneous ones that don't really have sequels. Well, actually, yeah, I forgot one over here too. Totally slipped my mind. One of these has a sequel. But we'll start with these two. This is Treasure's Sega Saturn Classic Radiant Silver Gun. And yes, this is the Sega Saturn import. Here's the back there. And this is just a very hardcore but very cool vertical shoot 'em up. And it uses a system where you have a sword that swipes around your ship to pick up bullets, and it charges up your, I believe it's like a homing laser. And then you use combinations of all 6 of the Saturn buttons to do different combinations of weapons. So it's really cool. It's got anime cutscenes and an actual story. And it's got kind of RPG elements where you can level up your guns by replaying the game. So yeah, it's very hardcore, great graphics, really shows off the Saturn hardware. So I would recommend it. This is on Xbox Live Arcade now, so that's obviously the cheaper option to go. But I had bought this before that came out. But I'm still happy with it. I like having physical games. Okay, and then this is kind of the spiritual successor to Radiant Silver Gun. And that is Ikaruga. And here, this is the GameCube version, obviously. And here's the back. This was kind of the same where you absorb bullets, but this uses black and white polarity type thing where you flip your ship to different colors to absorb the different color bullets. And then like your white shots damage the black enemies more, and the black shots damage the white enemies. So you have to kind of mix and match, and the difficulty is just insane in this game. Yeah, I mean, Radiant Silvergun also had kind of a thing where you shoot certain colors of enemies in a row and you get a higher score. This kind of takes that and simplifies it to, you know, like I said, just the black and white enemies. But still, it's crazy hard. There's some amazing videos out there of people playing this. There's one dude that can play both players with like 2 hands, you know, and he plays it all perfect. But yeah, this is highly recommended. Great 3D graphics, and once again, like Radiant Silvergun, it's a vertical shooter, but this one's more like a tall vertical screen, as you can see there. So yeah, that's cool. It's also on Xbox Live Arcade. And then here is a series. This one's from Game Arts. That is Sylphid for the Sega CD. This was kind of interesting. I believe it was, I want to say it's a arcade port, but I'm not too sure of the history. I got this pretty cheap at a pre-played store. And here's the back. It kind of uses full motion video for the backgrounds, but it has like actual 3D polygonal enemies, which looked really good for the time, but now it looks kind of archaic. But this one's not too difficult though. I would say this is one of the easier shoot 'em ups out there. But it's got a unique art style and everything. It's not my favorite game, but it's cool. And then it had a sequel on the PS2 called Sylphid. What is that? Oh, The Lost Planet. Not Lost Planet like the Capcom game, but yeah. And this was actually made by, you can see the logo down there, Treasure. So yeah, the makers of Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga made this. Although I would say this isn't their best game. I don't know, this series just doesn't capture me as much as other shoot 'em ups. Just seems kind of bland and I don't know, repetitive. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought, oh man, it's Treasure, it's got to be amazing. But it was just like, okay. I love like this case, it's so shiny. Look at that. But yeah, okay. You might want to check it out. Maybe you'll like it more than me. Okay, let's move on. We're getting through this. We're over halfway done here. How long is this 41-minute video? Okay, well, here's a couple games that are what I would consider, well, pretty much the rest of these games I'm going to show are kind of borderline run and gun slash action adventure, I guess. But all these games have a hardcore kind of difficulty, so I'll put them in this category. I guess we'll start with this, which is kind of strange to put in this category, but Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins, which is PSP exclusive, kind of reimagining, oh, game falling off here. It's kind of a reimagining of the Ghosts and Goblins series, but this one's super hard. And I guess the reason I consider it like a run and gun is because technically you're throwing things, so you're technically shooting guys. But yeah, it uses like the armor system for your health, so as you get hit, your character loses more armor. Here's the back of the box. Until he's eventually just in his boxer shorts. And this storyline was continued on PS2 in the Maximo games, but those were more like 3D adventure action games, but they still had a very hard difficulty. I'd like to get those at some point. But yeah, this is one series I'd like to get all the games in the series, but this one's super hard. It's frustrating, but hey, that's what shoot 'em ups and running guns have to be. Very hard, so you feel awesome when you beat it. Okay, next up, these games are kind of borderline shoot 'em ups, but you got the Mega Man series, Mega Man Anniversary Collection, and Mega Man X Collection. Obviously, this is Mega Man, I believe, 1 through 7, and it's got a couple extra ones. Yeah, it's got, oh no, it goes through Mega Man 8, which Mega Man 8 was the, I want to say that's the PS1 Mega Man. But I have the most memories of like Mega Man 2, 3, I think 5 were my most played ones back in the day. And the SNES and PS1 Mega Man games in this collection are really great looking graphically. I think Mega Man 7, I want to say, is probably my favorite one of the SNES ones. And then the Mega Man X Collection is obviously, well, let's see. It says 7 games in one. Oh yeah, it has the Battle and Chase racing game. So it's Mega Man X 1 through 6. So I think Mega Man 5 and 6 were on PS1. But some of the versions on here are the PS1 versions that kind of upgrade the SNES versions. So I believe like Mega Man X3 is the PlayStation version, not the SNES version. But yeah, these are very fast-paced, great music. I love Smooth McGroove's remix of Storm Eagle from Mega Man X1. So check that out. And yeah, this is a great game. Okay, so that's it for those Capcom games. Next up, another kind of almost action adventure more games, but they're super hard, and technically they're shoot 'em ups or running guns because you do use a lot of firearms in them. That is Super Star Wars. Yes, they're 2D action. As you can see on the graphics there, very 2D, very, very hard games. I beat this game back in the day. It was so hard. I'm sure I played it all weekend to beat it. And then, of course, we also have Super Empire Strikes Back, which I also beat back in the day from a rental. And there's the back of the box. And this one actually lets you choose which character you use in the stages. I think the first one they make you use whatever characters, or maybe not. I'm trying to remember. I thought one of these like didn't let you pick the characters. It made you play as who was in the scenes in the movie. But yeah, I mean, when you play as Luke Skywalker, you can use either the blaster or switch to the lightsaber, which the lightsaber obviously is just so beastly. And then we got Return of the Jedi, which is pretty cool because you can play as I think 2 different versions of Princess Leia. Maybe it's 3 different, but I know you can play as Slave Leia and the bounty hunter version of Leia. Was it called Bosk? But yeah, this continued like the crazy 2D action. They did have like all the scenes from the movies, but they obviously took liberties with it. So like you're sitting there fighting Jabba the Hutt and you're like shooting the shit out of him. It's like, when did that happen in the movie? Or like in Super Star Wars, like you fight the Sarlacc pit monster, it like comes out, it's like big worm type thing. So yeah, but they're cool. Very hardcore. Very hardcore in their difficulty. Okay, we're finally coming to the end here. Hopefully I got every game that's kind of like a 2D action type of thing. But I'll probably do another video of like games that are 2D but not really shoot 'em ups or running gun. But I guess this series is technically running gun, and that is Earthworm Jim, and this is the special edition for Sega CD. Here's the back of the box. So yeah, this was an upgraded port of the Genesis version, and this was also on SNES, but a lot of people prefer the Genesis and Sega CD versions because of the music, and I'm kind of one of those. Like, I think the SNES music was kind of bad, and I think originally the Genesis version is what this game was designed for. So obviously the Sega CD version had a lot of upgrades. I mean, it had like a new area, new weapon, CD soundtrack, and it says it has 1,000 more frames of animation. So yeah. Oh, totally new endings too, it says. I haven't actually beat this version yet. I still need to do it. I still have my password written down. I think I'm in the underwater stage where you like drive the little submarine, and you gotta like not collide with stuff or it'll crack the glass. It's really interesting. It's made by Shiny, which is kind of a legendary developer back in the day. They also made games like MDK. What was that other one? It was the PS1 game where you can like grapple guys and like throw them around. I'm sure one of you knows which game that is. Oh yeah, see, that game's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I mean, obviously you play as an earthworm inside a frickin' robot suit. You got a lot of different weapons. You can use your own like body to whip guys or swing across chasms and stuff. So it's very humorous. There was cartoons based on it, so great characters in it. And then I have the sequel, Earthworm Jim 2, And this was also on Genesis and SNES, and this is the upgraded Sega Saturn version. Here's some of the back of the box. And yeah, this had some upgrades. Let's see. I mean, it had better audio because it was like, you know, digital audio, and I believe it had like better like 32-bit color, and I want to say it probably had more animation, but I'm not sure about that. Oh, look at that. You can see that. Earthworm Jim action figures, it says. And I actually have a few of those action figures. Maybe I'll have to do a video of some of my like gaming related action figures. But those are all in the box. I have to dig them out. But yeah, this game's pretty cool. You have a little buddy, which you can see hanging out of his back right there. Like I think he's called Snot. And he kind of replaces like the whip. I think you can still whip your head, but you use him to like swing across. You like stick him to this like snotty ceiling, and then you swing across. It's pretty fun. I think you can use him as like a parachute. You jump and float down with him. So yeah, I think Earthworm Jim 1 is my favorite though. This one's okay though. I would recommend it. Alright, so I think that's it. I guess I will do another video in the future, if you guys want, of my other 2D style games, ones that don't fall into the, you know, shoot 'em up category. So, hope you enjoyed this little look at my collection, and keep watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.